So welcome to the podcast. First and foremost, thanks for everybody listening and watching on YouTube, iTunes, and any other platform that you might be using. So today we have kind of a special podcast, a little bit different than most. We have Jeremy and Christian, our main men on the editing scene for Flite Test. You don't get to see them very much on camera because they're always behind the camera. So most of you probably never seen their faces. And if you have, it's been a very quick segment on a vlog or something of that nature. Yes. Or when we do stupid stuff at an episode and they just happen to be there.
Or in the background.
Background Bobs, as they are.
Yes.
Shout out to Background Bob. What's up, Bob? If you're listening, love you, man. You're the man. So how we're going to kind of go about this today, we're going to talk a little bit about your guys' backgrounds, where you guys kind of came from, how you ended up at Flite Test, those kinds of things. And then for you guys viewing as well and listening on iTunes or whatever, we're also going to talk about the process that we go through at a shoot, before a shoot, what the planning process looks like, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So everybody that is listening and watching gets a little inside scoop on what goes on behind the scenes, truly behind the scenes at a video shoot, which is really cool. So first and foremost, we'll talk about you, Christian. Right. What is your background in video and et cetera, et cetera? How did you come to Flite Test? How did you get here? Take it away.
That's a lot of questions.
There's a lot of questions straight off the bat.
Well, I can start off how I got into video. It was probably a few years ago. I have my best friend's name, Tyler, and we just like to hang out. We worked at a summer camp together for about 5 years, and we just kind of made goofy videos. He made goofy videos with his brothers for a long time, and we just started making goofy videos. We did a couple parodies of different scenes. We did a couple of rules videos for some youth events.
Okay.
A bunch of stuff. We did like a Tron parody video, which is like, we shot it all on like a green screen, but it wasn't like a nice green screen. It was like it was in his grandpa's barn, and we like literally painted the floor with green paint and got like rolls of green paper from like the dollar store and used that. It worked.
Dollar Tree.
It was low budget for sure. So that's kind of like my origins. So that we just started doing dumb, goofy videos just for fun. That's kind of, if you go online, like that's the story of a lot of guys. Mm-hmm. They're just hanging out with friends. They want to do video. So it's similar to that. And I moved on from that to more professional video work. Started doing a lot of like real estate videos.
Okay.
And that kind of allowed me to hold my professional skills.
Yeah.
Allowed me to work on more composition and stuff. It's not the most exciting line of work, but it paid the bills for a while. And then from there, just kind of have grown. And I've always, my philosophy for video production, because I didn't go to school for it. I'm completely self-taught.
Oh, really?
I've just been practicing for a few years. My philosophy is that I don't know everything. And I'm always trying to constantly challenge myself and to grow better in my craft, because there's so much information out there, especially now in 2017. There's like thousands of hours of video, like education video stuff out there. There's people breaking down scripts and scenes and movies, and like, this is why this movie does this well. This is why this movie doesn't do this well. So many tutorials on cameras. Like the amount of cameras that are just coming out now are just crazy.
I feel like there's one new every week. It's
yeah. So like Sony and Panasonic are really like pushing that forward, and they're really like affordable cameras with some really nice features that for people like me or for anybody starting out, great places to start and get into the production side of video.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my background. From there, I moved on to freelancing for a long time. I did some drone work for a while. And then the regulations started coming out, and I kind of stopped doing that. But I have my Part 107 now, so that's good.
Woo.
And then things kind of slowed down in 2016. Yeah, last year.
Okay.
About winter. And so I was kind of like, I need to get a part-time job, or any kind of job really, because we're going to be moving soon and need a little bit more income and all that stuff. So I applied for a couple jobs, got one. And then like right after I accepted the one job, I saw on Facebook, by the way, I've heard of Flite Test, but I wasn't really following them. Wasn't really a fan of the show.
Okay.
Previous to working here. I just saw a random ad on Facebook for a company called Flite Test that they were looking for a video production guy. I was like, oh, that sounds really cool, because I like video production, and video production jobs, if you don't live in Ohio, are kind of hard to come by in Ohio. There's a few companies that do it, but like most times they're not really hiring. So if you want a video production job, it's a little tricky to find it.
Kind of lucrative.
Yeah. So, especially for not only a video production job, but a YouTube channel is like unheard of in Ohio. For the most people are like out west, California. So I was like, oh, that's really cool. So I checked you guys out. I applied, didn't hear back for like a month. So I was like, oh, I guess they get the job. But then they finally got back to me, and I came in for a couple of interviews, chatted with Josh, learned a little bit more what Flite Test was, and then they offered me the job, and I started working here last June. So I'm coming up on about a year.
Nice. And that was about the same time that you were working right underneath Dave Knopp.
Yeah.
Right.
So Dave Knopp, he was the guy who first interviewed me. Pretty chill dude. Pretty cool dude. If you guys don't know who Dave Knopp is, he was here for since the beginning of Flite Test.
Yeah.
A good 5 years.
I think he was, I can't say this is exactly correct, but I think he was here before Josh was.
I think he was. He was actually, I learned today that he and Chad Capper were like the first host of Flite Test, but apparently it was like terrible. So they went with Josh and Josh, which everyone loves, and I'm sure they appreciate that they went with that route instead of Chad and Dave, because I guess it was bad. I haven't seen it.
And that is what it is. Sometimes you're just not cut out to be in that line of work, but
he does have his own behind the camera.
Right? He does have his own YouTube channel, Quick Effects.
Yeah.
Right.
Or Knob Top.
Knob Top.
Yeah.
Quick, and he does
it's called Quick Effects. But I think the channel name is
Knob Top Quick Effects. Check out him on YouTube. He's a great guy. He's got a lot of cool stuff. He does a lot of funny videos, so you definitely enjoy that. But.
Yeah, if you're looking into like starting on video production and want some low budget stuff, he's a great resource to check out. And there's a couple other guys, Film Riot. We love Sam and Nico, Quarter Digital here. All big fans.
I've been a fan of theirs.
Some of the guys will be at Flite Fest West, actually.
Yeah.
Ren and is another guy coming, or is it just him?
I think so.
Think so? There's one or two coming from.
Yeah, I know Ren for sure. I don't know for sure who else.
All right, fair enough.
This should be pretty cool.
That'd be cool. So you came here and you've been here for about a year.
Yep.
And obviously you've enjoyed the time so far here, which is really cool. And I've gotten the pleasure, not so much of Jeremy at the moment because he hasn't been here as long, but I've had the pleasure of seeing Christian, seeing you grow from when you first started even to now, even in this first year, not only from just video editing and stuff like that, but your creativeness and your creative side of things, what you're doing on the field when we're shooting, ideas in the classroom, as you would call it, when we're sitting trying to think up ideas. I know Battlefield was an episode that was really kind of came from you.
Yeah,
and you had this elaborate scheme. Obviously, it didn't work out as we had planned.
Completely different.
What are you going to do? But you roll with the punches, and that is what it is. But you have that creative mindset, and that has really grown. And you've also been able to bounce ideas back off other people. And really, I thought, in general, with what you were given when you started, obviously Knob Top leaving and then Jeremy coming in, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There's a lot of stuff you had to handle on your own that I thought you did a really good job with. So we appreciate you here. We really are overjoyed to have you here and on our team here at Flite Test, because it's without you guys, you guys wouldn't watch videos. Let's just be honest.
I don't know what happened.
We wouldn't have a YouTube channel. We wouldn't be here. Right?
It'd be a static camera with no editing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know who's behind the camera right now, but it's kind of weird.
Right. I was going to ask you guys how you feel being in front of the lens. It's
a little weird.
Kind of big. Is it?
Yeah.
Well, we'll get there. So thanks, Christian. I really appreciate your background on that. And so switching gears here to Jeremy. Same question. Where'd you come from? Why'd you get into video? I know that yours is a little bit different, obviously, than Christian's. I think there's some schooling involved there as well, et cetera, et cetera. So give us kind of a little inside scoop on where you came from and how you got here.
Where I came from, where did
you come from? Where did you go? Where did you come from?
Cotton Eye Joe. Well, I got started basically because I was addicted to story in any form. It's interesting. My whole interest in video came from books. I can't really explain it, but
that's awesome. You probably don't hear that often, and maybe you don't.
I haven't really heard that before. I like fiction books, reading any kind, any genre, and reading those books. I wanted to see those come to life, and really things solidified for me. In seventh grade, I had an epiphany. That stories had the potential to change people's lives. And I always wanted to change the world because I don't know.
What seventh grader doesn't?
Right. So I went into wanting to become a filmmaker. I've had a one-track mind ever since.
Nice.
And in 7th grade, I got plugged into a local TV station that had some like after-school classes type thing. So it's been, let's see, is that 23 years ago that I started taking classes.
Nice.
1999, I got my first paid work. So I started working, quote unquote, professionally because I was paid. Right.
Even if it was a Coca-Cola or a dollar bill, right?
Right?
Doesn't matter.
$10 an hour, you know, just doing video stuff.
That's cool.
And then went to OU, did the training there. Actually, my high school had a video production program as well.
Oh, really?
So,
well, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Is that normal for most high schools these days?
I don't know about these days.
When I went to high school, like that was kind of during like 2008 was like the financial crash.
Mm-hmm.
So like there wasn't a whole lot of extracurrurcular activities, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So like they had video
Tight
production,
budget.
but yeah. So it wasn't like a huge thing. I was part of like yearbook, and that's about my extent of creativeness that I did there.
I know that it's a growing offering, but it's usually with schools that have what's the term where they teach like shop and all sorts of different programs like that.
Electives, I think.
Not quite electives, but TJ's running through here.
TJ's running through here with his randomly with his shirt off or up. Or I don't even know.
Interrupting.
Anyways,
Thanks, TJ.
He loves that kind of stuff.
So
usually he's behind the camera, sitting over there, which is David.
So yeah, my high school had a program. I was the second year in the high school's program.
Okay.
They still have it going on strong today.
Now, which high school did you go to?
Hoover High School, same as you.
Right.
A little earlier. But yeah, so then I went on to OU, and then a year after I graduated, founded my own production company, which basically meant I sent money to the government and
didn't
get my name on file.
And didn't get much back, right?
Right.
Yeah,
so it's a production company because I pay the government. And basically freelanced through that production company name.
Okay.
Did a variety of different things.
Now, what is your company name?
It has changed through the years. Currently, it's just my name, Jeremy Andrew Davis. So, you know, brand yourself.
Gotcha.
That's, so yeah, anyway, I did the freelance thing, did company video work. So anything and everything that came my way. Worked with some NFL players. I did some stuff with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Had some footage in a Microsoft commercial.
Oh, really?
Nice.
It sounds a whole lot more
lucrative than it actually is.
Yeah, it's like, okay, I shot some footage. Microsoft liked it. They paid me for it. Okay, now I got to figure out how I'm going to pay my bills next month. And that's about it. Yeah.
Freelance.
Unfortunately, how it goes.
Here we go.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not all that glamorous, but yeah, it's still cool to have those opportunities and work with some of those people.
And those kinds of things, they come up and you take advantage of those. And they're good stories to tell, you know, whether it's some crazy, funny, goofy movie that goes viral or working with the Microsoft or NFL or whatever it may be. Even though it may not be super lucrative or whatever, it's still a cool story to tell and still cool stories to have. And it's kind of cool because, you know, in freelance, and I'm sure you guys would agree, is that you can almost do anything. Right?
Yeah,
it all depends on the opportunities that present themselves, right? Is that how that kind of goes?
And you often fall into those opportunities.
Okay.
You know, I had some clients with YouTube channels, did a lot of sports work.
Okay.
And I wasn't looking for that. It just happened.
Right.
And then the same kind of thing with Flite Test. I was suffering from a bit of burnout from running my own company and always going, okay, where's the next paycheck going to come from?
Right.
And I had actually been friends with Chad Capper back in the day. He had Flite Test come out in 2013 on a film shoot that I was a cinematographer on. Okay. And did some aerial work for it. So I'm actually in a Flite Test episode.
That's what I heard. 2013. It's kind of crazy.
That's a long time ago.
Well, I'm gonna have to try to find. If you can find that, I'd like to link it below.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
So you guys can check it out.
It's something like movie making. Is in the name, but yeah.
Okay. We'll find it. We'll link it down below.
But so last summer I saw an ad on Facebook, just like Christian. Hey, Flite Test is hiring. And I'm like, oh, it'd be really nice just to have a steady paycheck.
Steady income.
And not have to do some of the less fun shoots, like doing corporate work, can get really tedious.
I'm sure.
Like, hey,
A lot of hoops to jump through, I'm guessing. Or?
Yeah, one is working with clients, but also just the subject matter isn't as cool as flying planes around.
That's true. Yeah. I would agree.
So
I don't want to know anything, but I feel like I agree.
Yeah. So I applied, and I think it was like 2.5 months later, I got a call.
Oh, nice, dude. You guys are going strong.
And they're like,
it.
hey, and I'm like, who is this? This is Austin from Flite Test. And I thought he was calling me back because at Flite Fest, I had actually got in touch with Austin because I was doing a film shoot and I needed some aerial stuff done.
All right.
And I ended up doing it before he called me back. And he called me back and he's like, hey, this is Austin from Flite Fest. And I'm like, oh, I already, did what I needed.
Right.
It's like, no.
No, that's not what
We want a job interview thing. Oh, okay, cool. So did the job interview. And the project that I was working on was actually an airplane restoration, Beach City Baby. I was doing a promo video for them to raise funds to purchase a 1944-45 World War II C-47. Or it's technically a C-53, more often known as a C-47. The civilian version is the DC-3. It's a very iconic aircraft.
Gotcha.
So I did that project. They watched it, loved it. They say, hey, aviation stuff. I said, yeah,
somewhat. Yeah.
I know a bit of that. My dad had his license. So,
cool.
I got hired and here I am.
Right. And now you guys are working in tandem.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All the time.
Dude, that's
all day.
fantastic.
We
All
hold
day, every
hands.
day, right? except for this is a little bit different of a week because everybody is actually out in, not everybody, but half the crew is out in California right now getting ready for Flite Fest West.
So right now in the shop, there's literally us three and TJ.
Yeah.
So that's basically it.
Literally, we're like, well, we're going to do a podcast.
With who?
No, actually, Jeremy and Christian both had a great idea of having them on a podcast. And I felt that was just an awesome way to get everybody to understand what goes on behind the scenes, which is actually a great segue because we're going to talk about that now.
Perfect segue.
Yeah, perfect. Beautiful. What goes into the process of making an episode from start to finish? Those are the kinds of things that I know that you guys have asked some questions about that on YouTube, on Facebook, on different media outlets. And to be honest with you, I'm here every day and I don't even know all the little bits and pieces that go into an episode. Like I know that we got to get the GoPros and we got to get the cameras thing. We got to get all this other stuff. But like, I know that there are probably a lot of other things that I don't get to see when you're cutting videos together. Why do you cut it this way or that way, whatever it may be. So let's kind of dive into that a little bit. What goes into that process and you guys can feed off each other and let me know from there. But what goes in behind the scenes?
Well, what was funny when you're like, hey, I need talking points for the podcast. And I'm like, I got to think about how to break down what I do.
Right.
It like all runs together. But I think the first thing is somebody at the shop, oftentimes it's Josh, but everybody throws out ideas, but somebody comes up with an idea for an episode and we have a bunch of different types of episodes, from Let's Flies to a challenge to a review. So each of them is a little bit different, but there's a basic workflow of first we have to have an idea.
That always
what
helps.
are we doing?
I don't know. We just sometimes just go and turn the cameras on and something happens.
Yeah,
that's true. That is true. We've seen that happen on multiple occasions where Josh is out back doing something crazy, and we're like, Jeremy, Christian, get a camera. Or Alex.
Of course, that's basically the whole vlog thing.
Yeah,
Right.
Something's happening. Let's shoot it.
That's so true. It's pretty much exactly what happens. You're like, oh, hey, there's this cool thing going on. All right, take a camera out, which is really cool. Which is the vlog style, but not necessarily always an episode style.
Yeah.
Which is cool. So yeah, go through that basic workflow from concept to edit to all the nits and bits, nit and gritty bits and stuff from there.
So normally we just turn the cameras on, we record it, then we just take all the footage and upload it to YouTube.
Somebody's lying over there. It's that easy.
It is magically edited by itself. we just sit here all day and watch YouTube videos.
Man, you guys would
have jobs.
You wouldn't be here. I'd be like, that's crazy.
So yeah, normally we get an idea normally every Monday. We've missed the past few just because of crazy Flite Fest West stuff. Normally we have a production meeting. We sit around the table. We kind of discuss like the previous week's episodes, what did well, what didn't do well, kind of evaluate that a little bit, and then we discuss what's coming up. So at any given time, there's always at least 4 to 10 ideas on the board. Now that we're also not just doing regular episodes, but we're doing full scale stuff.
Right.
There's just a ton of different opportunities that we get to know about, but no one else does, which is a little fun.
Until later.
Yeah, until later. So you guys don't know what's coming out next week, but I do.
No, you don't. The schedule's always changing, too. It's like, we think this is going there, but then it gets moved around. That's
true.
So, we kind of pick a couple ideas for the week. Like, hey, here's some good weather. So we need content for whatever following weeks. So we was like, all right, let's get this. What do we need to get that done? And then from there, we kind of break. And normally from there goes into prep. Somebody will kind of come up with a general idea for what the episode's going to be. Normally, if we're doing like a plane or something that doesn't come pre-assembled, someone has to build. Normally Josh.
Right.
Yeah.
Has to build them.
Josh or TJ usually.
Josh or
and
TJ.
then Chad will do all the painting and make them look real cool. And
make them look fancy. And then go out, find a cool place to film. So we have a couple of fields we go to, backyard. It just depends on what time we have and all that stuff.
Yeah, lately it's been Hawks flying field.
Yep.
Got a little more room there.
Yeah, which is nice because we weren't able to fly here for a while until we received that waiver, which we finally have gotten and can wave to it, which now we get to fly it back, which makes some shooting stuff a little bit easier.
A lot easier.
It's way easier. So normally a shoot, we use GH4s, really great camera. They're pretty affordable now, especially with the GH5 out.
Okay.
If you are looking to get into filmmaking, that is a very good camera to get, just because it looks like a traditional DSLR, but it's got a lot of video-centric features.
It's really geared for video. I've been working on the GH series since the GH2. That's what I started a lot of my short films on. And you can get some really cinematic stuff from them. They're really great cameras. As well as the GoPros.
Yeah, GoPros are nice too.
We use both. That's
normally we have always 2 cameras running, A and B cam. Normally Jeremy's A cam, I'm B cam, and then B cam is normally the guy or me. Normally is the one chasing the planes with the camera. So
you're the ground to air.
I'm the ground to air. I'm not. Alex is the one with the quad with the GoPro.
With the air
doing the air to air.
I typically chase Josh's face.
Yes. Which we should probably switch so you can do a little bit more of the fun stuff because A cam is not always the most exciting.
Yeah, but B cam, you can get a crick in your neck pretty quick too.
Yeah. So I did A cam when I first started because Dave was doing B cam for a long time.
Right.
I don't know how he did it because he would use a shoulder rig, and like when you're using a shoulder rig, you're like staring up in the sky like this for 20 to 30 minutes, and it's not good for your neck.
He's a strong individual.
At all. I don't know how he did it.
Super big traps.
Yeah,
neck muscles.
I use a monopod, which is way easier.
Yeah.
Not as intensive on my neck. And then we always have at least those 2 cameras. Typically, Alex has got a camera going, and depending on the plane, some planes are a little bit smaller and they can't carry a GoPro.
Right.
We normally have. I think the video I just edited had 10 different cameras. Yeah. With DVR, GoPros, our 2 cameras, third camera for talking.
And what was that episode?
The Gremlin.
The Gremlin.
So, which is maybe coming out next week.
Yeah.
Well, if you're listening to this, it's probably already out. We'll just say that.
I think they're listening to this.
I guess, maybe if you're not listening to this, you wouldn't know.
I love it.
Man. But yeah, so normally we have at least 4 cameras in any given time, which is quite a bit of footage. And we use terabytes and terabytes of footage every month.
Right.
We almost ran out of space. And thankfully, we just got a new
archive drive
that's got like 50 terabytes on it. Which I'm sure we'll fill up before the end of the year.
Technically, it has 72, but it's in a RAID, so not all of that is usable.
But yeah, from there, we after we're done filming, and normally when we film, there's typically 20 to 30 minutes, would you say?
Yeah.
We kind of go back and we have to organize the footage and
sync it,
transfer
all up.
It. Yeah.
But I want to back up to the actual episodes because there's a usual format for what we do.
Okay.
It's usually try, fail, try, fail, and several iterations of try, fail, and then sometimes
Try, fail.
succeed.
Yes.
So
Most times.
succeed in some way.
Yes.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
it's always a fun experience to go out and one, watch everybody having fun,
Right.
but also to see the challenges. And I think that's a lot of the entertainment, one for me being there and filming everything, but also like it's a great experience for everybody because, people watching you guys doing the hobby, you're going to have these failures. And I know I started getting into doing the RC stuff when I started here because I had access to all the brains and experience and all that kind of stuff. And I went out and I had a few frustrating times, but being a part of those episodes, I'm like, okay, crashing over and over and over after, this is normal. Okay.
That's part of the hobby.
This is part of the hobby. So, but yeah, we take all that footage of the whatever happens, and it's always we never know what's going to happen.
That's true.
And then we throw it in, sync it up, and do the edits.
Yeah. Normally, if a shoot goes really well, like everything goes perfectly, there's no issues flying or anything, we'll get like 15 minutes worth of footage, and that's really easy to cut down.
Yeah.
Most times it's like 20 to 30, sometimes more minutes of footage, which we don't really have 20 to 30 minute episodes except for the build videos.
Right.
And so there's a lot of stuff that we take out, a lot of like trying to get it to work and all that stuff. So like if you guys want to see more of that, we can try maybe showcasing that on the vlogs, a little bit more behind the scenes stuff. Normally we do a good job of doing that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think you definitely do.
We typically go through and just trim out all the boring stuff. Bowling stuff?
Bowling stuff.
Boring stuff. I need to enunciate.
Yeah.
But yeah, we start by syncing up the footage, which means we do a sync clap. So somebody claps so that we can see them in the footage.
Like this.
Yep. And then we have those audio spikes for the cameras that record audio. Obviously, FPV does not. So we have to have the visual. We line all those up for however many cameras we have going so that when we cut out a section from one camera angle where another one's better, we're in sync and everybody's watching in real time.
Okay.
Yeah. So
That makes sense. That's really nice, actually, because then it's not like, hey, how's it going?
yeah. And then
What'd you do?
yeah.
I mean,
everybody's mouth
watching.
is out of sync with their audio.
Right.
It could do that. It'd be like a weird technique, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that.
I don't like
Yeah,
it.
it could be kind of funny for a certain episode, but then I typically go through and I go, okay, I remember that we had a few false starts. We have some bloopers of where somebody trips over the words.
Yep.
So I typically remember when the good one was, find that one, just cut out the rest, and then go through and very unceremoniously cut out everything that I can. Anything that's boring, any moments that it's like, okay, this isn't really going anywhere, and make it as fast-paced as possible. And, because we bring it back and edit it pretty much immediately, either that day sometimes or the next day or maybe 2 days later, it's pretty easy to remember what happened.
Fresh.
Yeah.
And so we know, okay, and here there was a lot of dead time because we were maybe dealing with an issue or whatever the situation may be. And just cut out those empty, unentertaining parts.
So essentially what you're saying is that you make Josh, me, Alex, the rest of the guys, you just make us look good.
Yeah, we make you look really
good
entertaining.
because compared to what we normally would be, we're pretty.
We have the power to make you look bad. We choose not to use that power.
That's so true.
We could cut your guys' words up and make you say whatever you want.
Yeah, that's a scary thing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be on my best behavior. That's for sure.
Yeah, you gotta watch out. You never know when those bloopers might appear.
We might do an outtake video. You never know.
You never know. That's true. You never can tell,
man.
right? That's fantastic.
But yeah, normally editing that's where most of the work goes. And if you've not done video production before, that's I don't know, 80% of your work, 30%, 70%.
It depends on the episode, but I would say at least 80% of the work.
Yeah,
80% of the time is really put into the edit.
Yeah, I mean, we'll film for like 30 minutes, but then we'll spend 8 hours, 12 hours editing episode.
That's on our end too. That doesn't account for the builds that other guys are doing.
Yeah,
so for the video production, I would say 80% of our time is spent in the edit, whereas like the Battlefield video, a lot of time was put into making the blimp dirigible Zeppelin.
Right. Thing.
Yes.
Probably don't want to open the can of worms again.
Yeah.
We're going to cut that part out. No, I'm just kidding. Perfect. No, that's awesome. And so when it comes to the rest of the editing process, you cut it all together, and then you get to a point to where you're happy with it, to where you think it's where you want it to be. Essentially, you're polishing it off there. Yeah,
we usually do a rough edit to, you cut out the dead spots. Mm-hmm. Then you do more of a polish edit. Well, that's not quite the polish edit portion, but it's more of an assembly where you're trying to, sometimes it works better if you mix up the order of things.
Okay.
And it really depends on the video, but you do an assemble to find a story arc.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you have the introduction to the concept, then you have typically some sort of challenge, and that could be a review where you're trying something out. That could be like the hoop challenge where you're trying to get quads through a plane that's flying a hoop around. Some sort of conflict, story-wise, technical term.
Right.
And then you have a resolution to that, whether that's crash and burn. So that would be, your tragedy story. Sometimes it's a comedy, but we like to have happy endings, and
right. That's always nice.
Yes.
Yeah. So
normally, if you don't know what Jeremy's saying, it's normally we have Josh, whoever's the host, saying what they're about to do. They fly the thing that they're going to fly, and then they close it out and land. Yeah. Land or crash.
Great translation there for layman.
That's basically how like every episode goes, unless it's like a build or something one off that's like working. That's just informational based.
It's true for layman's terms. Thank you.
Yeah, this is layman's terms.
Really appreciate this. That's where I'm at all the time.
The general gist of every episode.
Well, see, on the reverse side of things, you guys are talking about like FPV and all these battery
FPV, ESC, VTX.
Yeah. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, sometimes you guys will like say like things like ailerons and flaps and all that.
Ailerons,
like, I kind of have a better grasp on them now. I don't quite have them nailed down, but like Josh will start talking to me about like plane stuff, and I'll just nod my head because sometimes I don't know what he's talking about.
It's like, the flaperons with the ailerons and the ESCs with the VTXs? Yeah, Josh. Yep. I got it. Thank you, sir. Really appreciate it.
Bring that in.
Film that QPR. What part of the plane is that?
I'll edit that right away, sir. That's awesome.
So, normally I just nod my head and smile and pretend like I know what I'm doing.
That's good. And also one thing that those of us who do not edit or do anything of that nature, these guys get to also edit a kind of like a pre-release, as it were, for us to watch.
Yeah.
Which you'll actually see at times. Sometimes on vlogs, you'll see people all huddled in the video room, and we're actually watching a rough cut of someone's newly coming out episode or shortly thereafter. And we get to give them feedback and say, oh, we like this, or we don't like this. And so it's really cool because it's a really like a community effort. They put most of the time in it.
It's nerve-wracking for us sometimes.
Right. Don't get me wrong. We don't really do much, but we do give direction at times from each perspective, so that they're seeing it from my view, they're seeing it from Alex's view, from Josh's view, from Austin's view, everybody's view. So now you kind of get that whole viewpoint. So if we're all in agreement, seeing it from all these different viewpoints, then the audience that's watching it, because there's so many people that watch it, the community, thank you first and foremost for watching the videos, because it puts their time in and makes them happy, and they stay here and make more videos. But usually it goes hand in hand. So if everybody here likes it, then most of the time the rest of the community is going to enjoy it.
And that's a very valuable part of the process. It may be, apart from getting content to show people, I would say of the process, that's the most valuable for me, because that's where I'm learning the most about the community and about the vision here of what we're trying to do. And there's always really good ideas that are thrown into the mix that really help expand my not only my understanding of the hobby, but there's great video tips
Right.
And that's one of the philosophies that I like to operate from is you don't have to know video to have an opinion about the video and how it could be cool or better or whatever.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, normally when they're screening movies, they'll have test audiences.
Right.
Just random people that may not know anything about like production of a movie. And they bring them in, have them watch it, get their thoughts, and they're like, all right, here's what they didn't like, here's what they liked, and how can we improve the edit?
Right.
Same thing here. And for any part of production, honestly, if you're trying to get into it, if you make something, don't just hide it. I heard this recently. Like, get out and show somebody. Like, show your family, show your parents, show your friends. Even if you think it's terrible.
Show people you don't know. That's valuable too, because family, parents, friends, they might.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's great.
But like, to improve like yourself and your craft, like that's the most valuable thing is to get feedback. Yeah. And it is a hard skill. Well, not hard skill, but it's tricky.
No, it is a hard skill
to learn how to accept criticism.
Right.
Because not everyone is good at giving like constructive criticism. Like I'm of the mindset that any criticism is got some merit, even if it's like really hateful or negative,
or even if you disagree.
Even if you disagree with it, like you should take that, evaluate, and see why they felt that way, or what made them say that comment or whatever. And try not, like, it's hard not to get personally attached to your work, but try and be objective of your own work. And that's a really difficult skill to learn. And that's
being passionate and objective can sometimes be hard.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to bite your tongue, and it's really hard to not kind of defend
why you did this,
why you did that. And sometimes it is worth defending. It really depends. And you got to learn that skill, how to differentiate.
Sometimes you got to pick your
two.
battles. Sometimes you got to know when to push, when to let go. At times.
And those conversations are really valuable because sometimes I'll have an idea for what I'm trying to achieve. I put it in and nobody gets it. And I'm like, well, this is what I was going for. And they're like, oh, I get it now. Yeah. And then I can find a solution for how to make that happen, or I scrap it and take a different approach. So
that makes sense. That's good.
That's one of my favorite things is learning and getting better.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
And there's a lot of great stuff on YouTube and elsewhere that you can go and learn.
That's true, which is nice because there's just so many outlets to go and find that info.
Yeah. Yep.
And so from there, after you polish everything off and you get to cut it and you get everything set up, then you got to go and find a thumbnail, right? Is that essentially?
I have two of them. You got one on each hand.
You got to make it look good so people are gonna actually want to click it and watch it.
Yeah,
right?
try
essentially
to make it look appealing.
Now, how do you go through that process? Do you normally take a screen grab? Do you just throw stuff together, or is there like a process, or it just kind of depends on the episode?
It depends. Sometimes there is really great screen grabs. Sometimes there's not. Sometimes we just go and take a photo. We've really been trying to improve. That's one of the things we've been trying to improve lately. It used to be just we just pull like a decent looking thumbnail from the
screen
video,
grab,
a screen grab, and you put some text on it and upload it, and that was that. But now we're trying to be a little bit more creative, have a little bit more fun. If you notice, you go through and look. I think I really like some of the thumbnails we've come out lately.
Yeah,
and that part is a lot of collaboration between. We use Slack. I don't know if you're familiar with Slack, but it's like a chat group chat thing.
Company-wide chat.
Yeah, we're all on it. So even when we're at our desk, we can still be collaborating while we're doing our own work. And normally, when we want to for our thumbnails, we throw it on Slack. We come up with something, we throw it on there, get some feedback, and then adjust. And sometimes Alex, who's the main graphic design guy.
Yeah, that's his background.
So he's got the most expertise in that area. Normally he's got some good
super creative ideas and stuff like that, which is really nice.
I do it out of self-defense because I have to. I'm not a graphic design guy, and I just I know how to use Photoshop, and if I know what I want to do, I can do it. But layouts and stuff like that, I'm definitely a fish out of water.
Yeah, you give Alex a call, right?
Cool. Actually, Christian is really good too, and I'm like, hey, do you have any ideas for a still thing? Because if it's moving, I know what to do. But
that's fantastic. So from thumbnail, then go throughout the rest of the process from thumbnail to when it goes live on YouTube. What does that look like?
Well, we basically, after everyone's approved the edit and we finalized it, put music and all the good stuff on it, we export it, typically the same settings we always use, and then we upload it to YouTube, which is pretty self-explanatory. Just click a little arrow and
drag and drop.
Yeah, drag and drop, and then it'll upload. It used to take a while. Thankfully, we got faster internet.
Yes.
Way better internet.
Thank you, Robert.
Yes, thank you.
Robert for the win.
Yes.
Sometimes it used to take like a whole day, especially for like build videos, which are like an hour long.
And it's slowing everybody at the shop's internet down.
That was the issue. They used to upload these videos, you know, something, especially if it's a build video. It would go for 2 or 3 or 4, 5, 6, 8, 12 hours. It wasn't 12 probably, but it felt like it.
Sometimes when our internet was going slow.
The issue was that when they were uploading, most of the time, even if you wanted to jump on Google, just like type in Google in your search engine, it would take 2-3 minutes for it to just pop up. Then you had to type in your, then you got to find what you're looking for. I mean, I would go and try to find a comment on YouTube. It would take me 30 minutes to find one comment and load it and comment back to somebody. It just did not work.
I think there's a little bit of exaggeration.
There is a little bit.
I don't think
but not always.
That's how it felt.
That's how it felt. It felt like I was literally typing in molasses. Just blah, blah. And that's just how it was. But now, thankfully, to Robert, we are now doing things at a much quicker pace.
So sometime in the mix there where we're doing the thumbnails, we're uploading, somewhere in that process, even as far back as the production meeting, we're kind of trying to brainstorm catchy titles for what we're doing. Now, oftentimes our original title does not work at all with what actually happened. But something that people find interesting. So we kind of have a battle royale with, all right, everybody throw out title ideas. And we all shred each other's titles of, that doesn't work. That's terrible. And we come out with
constructive criticism.
And we never know, what's going to stick when we throw it out on the interwebs and what's going to, not resonate with people. But it's also a fun creative process of pairing the thumbnail with the title and the video and have it all work in synergy. So
that's really cool. And I like listening to you guys banter a little bit back and forth about different perspectives, but also just how you've worked in tandem to make sure that, and let me get this straight real quick for all of you listening and watching. These guys went from 2 videos a week to essentially 5 to 6 videos a week.
Yeah.
And so they're cutting things together, doing filming, cutting them, getting everything ready. Obviously it's a collaborative effort, but they're putting things out like it's your job. It is your job, but it is, but it's being pushed out like crazy quickly. So mad props to you guys. It's unbelievable how quickly and how effective and efficient you guys are.
Thank you. It's been a real pleasure working with Christian. I've worked with other video guys, and I haven't found anybody who can edit as fast and as well as Christian.
Right.
So I was a little nervous coming in. Like, am I going to have to pull somebody along? But no, Christian and I really, really work well together, and it's a real pleasure working.
It definitely
with
shows, and you guys work well off each other as well, which is really cool. So first of all, thanks so much for giving up your time and chatting through all the processes that you guys do. Obviously, there's a lot that goes into these things. So thank you for all your hard work as well. I know Josh says it to you every day, but I also am very, very happy to have you guys along with us for the ride. And the last thing I kind of want to chat about before we wrap everything up is just maybe some personal projects that you guys are proud of or are doing right now or have done in the past that you're super proud of. Just to give the viewers and the listeners maybe an idea of where you came from and get to see some stuff that you've done or that you might be doing, et cetera, et cetera. So, Christian, as far as that's concerned, are there some projects in the past or even one you're working on now and maybe you're not done with or you just finished that you're proud of or that you think people might want to see or in general?
Well, I'm kind of currently working on with my buddy a Metal Gear. I say Metal Gear Solid, but it's actually more based off Metal Gear, which was like an old MSX game back in the 90s. But Metal Gear Solid's obviously a franchise that's been around. I love
that game.
Yeah, big fan of that game. We shot it last fall. We're still working on it. A Metal Gear short video. And we actually shot in the place that you'll see in the Gremlin video just to get a little taste of that environment and that feel. So that's kind of the current project we're working on as far as short films. As far as like past stuff, for a lot of my freelance work, I've done a lot of events and stuff and construction work and all that kinds of good stuff. I would say there's some really good projects I'm really proud of, especially when like I can just take control and kind of drive a vision. I think 2015 was probably my biggest year of growth for video production.
Right.
And I created like a demo reel, and I actually submitted that here. So I think I got my job here.
Hey, there we go.
So like I think that's probably something I'm the most proud of, is that kind of show reel, demo reel that shows off a variety of my work. Just to kind of see like how much I've grown as a video producer.
Right. Now, do you have like a link of that? Do you have that?
Yeah, that's
somewhere?
on Vimeo. We can
awesome.
share it.
We'll put that link down below so you guys can check that out.
I created
That'd be really cool.
And we're beginning of 2016, so I need to update it. I have some new stuff to add to it.
You know, I've never had a demo reel.
Hey, and I love that because you've never had one, you've done one. It just goes to show the different perspectives, the different styles that you guys bring to the table, which is really cool. But you do have that, and that we can link down below.
Yeah, and I can share that. And I made it great to try and get some work, and it didn't really work out that well. But hey, it's online. I'm pretty proud of the footage that's in there. It's cool. It's probably quite a bit different. I will say, just real quick, I know we're running out of time. Like Flite Test has got a very unique style for the show, very live. If you've seen The Office, it's kind of similar to that mindset where the camera's kind of always constantly rolling. Like a live-ish reality TV, but not really cheesy like reality TV. Right. My style is a little bit more cinematic. And so like if you watch that demo reel, you see a completely different style than Flite Test. So that's, if you like watching interesting stuff, I hope you find it interesting. I don't know. Yeah. Well, might be interested by it.
Yeah, let us know in the comments below about the different styles that you've seen, obviously on Flite Test and also on this demo reel, and maybe some things from your end, et cetera. So, Jeremy, what do you have in the books right now, or that you had in the past, or maybe something coming up? What's happening in your life?
Well, like Christian, my passion projects are cinematic. My end goal is to be a full-time filmmaker making feature films. And I have one step towards that direction going on right now. Actually, Friday, April 28th at the Canton Film Festival, so in Canton, Ohio.
That'll essentially be probably the day after this posts.
Probably,
so today when you're listening to this, that's that Thursday.
So if you're in Northeast Ohio and want to watch a cool movie, my feature film, Contract Redemption, is going to be world premiering at the Canton Film Festival at the Palace downtown in Canton, Ohio.
Downtown Canton. Cool. And give us the dates again for that.
That is Friday, April 28th at 7:30.
Love it. Perfect.
So
that's fantastic.
Yeah, it's an action movie. It's inspired by the Hitman video games. So Christian, I've done a fan film, but I wanted to. It's basically a fair use film, which means there's not a copyright infringement because it is a social commentary. Now, watching the film, if you didn't know it's a social commentary, you wouldn't. And that was my intent from the beginning. You see a lot of action movies out there that there's not a gender balance. There's not a lot of diversity. And so I wanted to take an existing Hollywood narrative, i.e. Hitman in this case, and show how easy it is to write a script that had diversity in it, both gender and racial, and show that actually can get you a broader audience than just, a mostly male cast with some eye candy on the female side. So, our females in the film are good looking, but they're not there for eye candy. They drive the story. They're leading roles and everything. Right. And so that was my approach. But it's also a really entertaining, fun ride with a bunch of stunts, shooting, all that good stuff. Cool. So
that's fantastic. Yeah. I'm sure you're very proud of that.
It was a really, really great learning experience. The amount that I learned from that project is substantial. It's taken 3 years to produce. Nice. But it's a feature film.
That's fantastic. So if you're in the area or not, at least close by somewhat, April 28th, 7:30 p.m. at the Canton Palace Theater. And that's part of the Canton Film Festival, correct? Yes. So if you're in there, go check it out. Go check out his movie. Because it's going to be, I feel like it's going to be really cool. I haven't seen anything yet. Obviously, he's never given me a sneak peek, which is I feel a little bit slighted. I feel a little bit upset.
I showed TJ earlier, so
TJ's got the thumbs up, so that
I can give you a link to the trailer.
Perfect. And
Cool.
we'll put a link down below to the trailer as well. So for you that are listening that day that this comes out, you'll get it'll be the day before. So you can get a little sneak peek and then go actually see the actual movie. So we'll actually not be in town.
Yeah, I'm going to be the only one here,
which is so sad.
Everybody but me is going to be in Flite Fest West, but this is worth it to miss.
Yeah, and if there's anything you're missing Flite Fest for, it's going to be that, and that's really cool. So you guys definitely go check that out. Also watch his film there in the link below as well, because that's going to be really cool. And first and foremost, I just really appreciate everything that you guys do. I know that the community does as well, but from the community standpoint and my standpoint, the rest of the guys here at the shop, thank you for all the hard work that you put in, because like I said, if it wasn't for you guys wouldn't watch anything. I wouldn't have a job, and none of us would be here. So, and thanks to the rest of the video crew that have been here before you, Dave Knopp, Brian, who else was around? I think in my time those are the only people that were here at the time that
Cam and Eddie.
I'm in it. Yeah, probably that's true too. Yeah. But in my time, David Knopp and Brian were the main two guys. Mm-hmm. So the guys who set the stage before you guys, thank you as well for bringing it to where it was, and you guys took over, which is really cool. So first of all, thanks for being on the podcast as well. I really appreciate you guys. You guys have been fantastic. And like always, if you haven't subscribed, think about doing so. Hit that notification button so you can see everything that comes out, all the episodes, the vlogs, the podcasts, et cetera, full scale, et cetera. And secondly, thank you for watching on YouTube, on listening on iTunes. Everybody that is doing so, thank you so much. And we will see you guys next time. Deuces.